Woo! And now we're recording. Yay!
Yay!
Holy smokes. We are so blessed. You're going to notice that my partner is changed drastically. That's because Anita is enjoying Hawaii. So kudos for her and her family. And a big shout out and appreciation to my friend, Esther Gates, who Esther 5D Energy on YouTube, and esthergates.com is her website. She is an incredibly talented and gifted channel. She's also, from what little birdies have told me, working on holographic healing, which is very interesting. So she stepped in last minute, like literally yesterday, last minute. Welcome, Esther.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. And I'm excited for Anita being in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, me too. I'm jealous too.
I know. It's very cold here, -8 degrees and snowing here in Indiana. And I'm dreaming of that beach and that ocean. I'm so good right now.
Right? Yeah, I agree. So hang on a sec. I'm going to try and get our group up here so I can see if there's anybody on there in a moment.
And I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody listening. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Good holiday. Yes, it is the white Christmas that people dream of. And so a lot of kids are very, very happy right now. They're getting their boots on and their sleighs out and their gloves and all hats. They're doing it. And I'm really happy for the kids because they're off school right now and they can enjoy the a white Christmas, and it doesn't happen often.
Okay, and you're in what state?
I'm in Indiana.
Okay. My husband was watching the news this morning, and it's getting a lot of snow and some Canada-like weather down there in some of the areas, that snow in Texas and frigid temperatures and stuff. So it's interesting stuff that we're so accustomed to.
Right.
Prepare for, right? We know winter's coming. Every year it's coming. So, I mean, we do our harvest in the fall and we put stuff away and, extra clothes and extra water. And so it's not a shock to us, but for people that aren't accustomed to it, and this is the out of the ordinary, it's a huge shock for people driving in it.
Sure.
Right. And even in parts in Canada, like our son lives in Victoria, which is out in BC on an island. And he grew up in Alberta, so he's fine driving it. But they've gotten a boatload in Vancouver and Victoria of snow this week and ugly weather. And so he even comments on, they don't know it.
Yeah.
And until you know it and experience it, it's a completely different world.
That is so true. That is so true. I'm in the southern part of Indiana near the state of Kentucky.
Okay.
And so northern Indiana near the lakes get more, but we don't generally get a lot. And so to have it at Christmas time, though, is kind of cool because everybody's ready to tuck in and
I suppose
celebrate and just enjoy the family time together. They have more time off work. And so it's kind of cool that it happened right now. And I like it that it's kind of like a true holiday spirit kind of feeling. Makes it a little difficult to visit friends,
Yes.
But like you said, the driving, but they've done a good job here of clearing everything off, and you can go to wherever you need to go. So
that's perfect.
It's fine, but it's just cool to enjoy a different type of Christmas with the snow coming down.
Yeah. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas is not what we dream up of here.
No, you have it every year, right?
It's automatic.
Right. Yeah.
So awesome. Well, to those of you joining us, I'm trying to see it on my cell phone and it's not working so well. So I'm not going to get distracted with it. I'm just going to shut it off. And we're going to focus our attention on our guest. And I'm going to go back to, this is Feng Shui Friday, normally with Anita and Cheryl. And we wear these fun glasses, 2 reasons. One, because I like to be my inner child and get dressed up, and this is a great excuse. And 2, because we want to bring attention to looking at your environment and your space through energetic eyes. So it's just another way of looking at things. including your possessions, your home, office, whatever the case may be. And our topic every Friday comes from the Feng Shui Personal Paradise card deck by Tara Catherine Collins. Now, Tara is the founder and creator of the Western School of Feng Shui. That is where Anita and I are certified practitioners through. And interesting things about Tara. She was the first author that Louise Hay had on Feng Shui through Hay House. And she has now published 6 books, international best-selling books through Hay House on Feng Shui. She is an absolute doll. And we call her a friend. We call her our mentor, teacher. You just couldn't ask for a nicer person. So anyway, as I am shuffling, I want to share a little bit about Esther, because Esther and I got to know each other through Marilyn Harper's Adrain and Company Channelers Academy. And I had mentioned earlier, Esther is an incredibly gifted channel. And she's also gone through our 21-day decluttering program with us.
Well, I did.
Interesting.
Really good.
You and I were chatting a little while ago, and you shared a little story about what you came across in your closet that led to a whole bunch of decluttering.
Oh,
You want to
yeah.
share that story while I come up with the topic?
I sure will. This is just to show how certain things that you don't even know can be a catalyst.
Yep.
So what happened was I had a mouse infestation in the closet, one of my closets. I had my son had brought over a hamster cage with some food in it that I did not know he left in the cage, and said, "Mom, can you store this cage for me?" And it was all wrapped and sealed, but I just didn't pay attention, and I should have stuck it in there. Fast forward 6 months later, I'm cleaning out the, clothing in there a little bit, rearranging some things in that. It was a guest room. And I noticed droppings from mice, and it looked like they had gotten into that cage and ate that food, and they had been in there for a while, and I didn't know it. And it was really
unpleasant.
kind of disgusting. Yes, unpleasant. And so I got it cleaned out. And then it dawned on me that, oh my gosh, I wonder how many other closets could have stuff going on that I didn't know. And before I knew it, I had reorganized all of the closets in my home. I had taken a bunch of stuff to Goodwill. This was a project that I had been wanting to do for a long time, because I've been in my house 22 years. And things change and you kind of rearrange, but you don't always clean it out the way you should. So I had been looking at it and just shutting that closet door and ignoring it and putting stuff in and shutting it. So yeah, it was like this big catalyst. So I had to remember that any challenges you have in life can be a gift. And I had been doing a meditation on that for a while, and I just didn't know how that was going to present itself in my reality,
Right.
How challenges gifts, how can you view them as gifts? So in that moment when I was working on that closet, and I was really feeling kind of, a little disappointed in myself for not doing it and judging. And I thought, no, challenges are gifts. How is this a gift? And I thought, because it's that catalyst. It's that catalyst that helped me to get going and motivated to reorganize my closets.
Right. I love so much of what you've just shared, Esther, because a couple things. I know what's happened in your life since that. And it's like you opened up the space for something new to flow into your life. Right. And it wasn't that long after you did all of this, right, that you got a phone call?
I got an email.
Oh, that's what it was. You have to share the rest of the story.
Okay.
We teach in Feng Shui, when you start letting go of that stagnant energy of the items that are no longer serving you, the universe will bring in something new. Now you have to share that story.
Absolutely. And I really took to heart cleaning it out. I didn't just do a little bit. I did a lot. And it did leave, what you say, a space, because later on that summer, I got an email from a gentleman that does a show called They Call Us Channelers on YouTube. His name is Kevin Moore, and he's been featured himself on Marilyn Harper's double digit. He's been
Mhm.
featured on other shows, but he is a major YouTuber, I'll call him.
Yes.
And he's had this show for many years and interviewed many people that have been in the channeling business for a long time. And I had not contacted him. I didn't know he even knew who I was, but he contacted me and asked me to be on his show. And I got to be on that. And there was over 5,000 views. And it's just took off from there. It launched my website. I had the website in place, but
Mhm.
it helped get it launched. And since then, I've never looked back. It's been a
Yeah.
beautiful experience, but it was like dropped in from the universe into that space, that beautiful space
Mhm.
of, just not really trying to make my business into something, project anything.
Yeah.
I just left it open to the universe, what was coming. And I was busy cleaning out that clutter and getting rid of all the old stuff that I didn't
Yeah.
need anymore, and shifted my energy into that.
100%.
And when I
100%.
shifted that energy, that just dropped in,
Mhm.
literally like dropped in my lap. And he was like, how did we get in how did we find out about you? And I'm like, I don't know. And he said, well, I'm just going to I channel the Esther group. He says, I'm going to thank the Esther group for putting us back together,
Yeah.
and bringing this out, because this was some sort of meeting that we've been planning for a long time, apparently, that neither of us was aware. So it's like getting us together.
Yeah.
And it was just wonderful. So that just shows you that when you do one thing in your life, like clearing out the clutter,
Yep.
it causes like a chain reaction of other good things that can come your way. Totally unexpected. Don't try and figure out what it's going
What
to
it
be.
is.
Yeah, don't
Exactly.
try and project anything. Just leave it open, because it could be way better than anything you imagine. And
Well,
that's
and as humans, we want to control. We want to know what's coming. We want to, this is where it's going to come from. This is,
right.
I'm going to work on this channel because that's where, no.
Right.
No,
Right. You don't know.
just be open.
Right. That energy of openness and willingness to receive
Mhm.
whatever's coming is the key, and to be grateful for it, because we put projections on goals we have. And then if they're not met, then we get a little negative, disappointed in ourselves, start judging.
Yeah.
That shuts down the energy.
Mhm.
So if you can just leave it open, that's why it's a new way of consciously creating
Mhm.
your environment through this feng shui, and through that alignment of not really projecting a specific outcome. And like this, Kevin, I could have never imagined that. I really
Right?
did. He interviews people that I felt had written books and done a lot of, and that wasn't where I was at. I was more in the just getting started phase. But I've been channeling for a while, but still I wasn't at that level that they were at with exposure. So this gave me that exposure, and it's been beautiful, but I did not imagine that for myself either way. I just said, whatever comes will come, and I'll be ready for it when it shows up. I'll just be ready. And that allowed for that opening. But I really believe the catalyst was that really motivation of cleaning out the old and bringing in the new. And it just was an exchange of energy there,
Mhm.
where one leaves and the other, we're in this energetic reality.
Everything's energy.
Right.
Yeah.
So everything we do affects something else. And we're just learning a new way of navigating it.
Exactly. This story represents so many things, so many things. So the cards that you saw me shuffling, we have two cards that came up, and the first one, as you're telling this story, is the number 47 card, Wealth and Prosperity. So I found that very interesting.
Thank you. That's good. Good to know. I'll take it.
And the second card that came up is Dining Room, the number 21 card. First thoughts that come to me is to share with people, and I'll do that because I don't expect you to know this part about feng shui, but I'll be curious as you look at your house, the layout. So we always talk about the bagua, and I had grabbed it, so I had it handy here when I saw Wealth and Prosperity come up. Now the Wealth and Prosperity area, and I got to show it to you on this card, of our house. So if you're walking in your front door, and you lay the bagua down, It's like walking in and taking your hand and pointing at the far left area or quadrant of your house. Okay, that would be your wealth and prosperity. The same goes for every room. So if you walk into your office, for example, or the room that you're in right now, and you took your arm and you went to the left, the far left corner, that would be the wealth and prosperity area of your corner or area of that room. So we can double dip utilizing the Bagua the way we do in essential feng shui, which is non-directional, just to save some confusion there. So the closets that you started with, I'm really curious if you put a square over top of the house and you did 9 sections, but you don't have to at the moment. And you're coming in the front door, you're standing at your front door facing the house. Were any of the closets in the far left area of the house?
It was when you walk in my front door, when you walk in the room, the bedroom that the mouse was in, it was to the left. It was the closet to the left. But when you walk in my house to the left, I didn't have a closet. I had a kitchen and a dining area.
Right.
My dining room I remodeled, and I had just finished redoing my dining room as well. And I had hung them really pretty curtains and finally got the artwork that at the same time that I cleaned out the clutter, I brought in, I said, this dining room has never, I had a nice table, but I just had never decorated it.
Right.
Because I'd remodeled my house and I just didn't know what to do. Finally, I said, I'm tired of this. I'm just going to hang those. I got the curtains that I wanted. I got the artwork in there finally on the wall this summer. I finally decided, I'm like, I can do this. I'm just going to, and I went to a place in our town that's a small place that has just home stuff. And they helped me pick out for my wall. And I really like, there's a moment when you are doing these things where you kind of procrastinate and then suddenly you pull the trigger, so to speak.
Yep.
Just trust yourself that what you're picking out is going to be okay. Because my problem was I would look at stuff and I'd say, I'm not sure. Finally, I said, no, I know what I want. I'm going with it. And I did it. And I put it in that room, that dining room. And the curtain was covering up a porch that had been remodeled, but wasn't finished yet. And those curtains, every day when I saw those sliding glass doors that were out to that porch that we hadn't finished yet, because we hadn't ordered the floor yet, and we hadn't finished the trim yet, and a bunch of stuff happened at COVID, with getting supplies and people to help.
For sure.
It just got put off. So that was like the last thing that wasn't done. And when I hung those beautiful curtains up, I didn't have to look at that anymore. I was like, I'm just going to let that sit there. It's going to be okay. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm going to take it out of my vision. I'm just going to allow it to be what it is. But in that dining room looked completely done then, see? And it was straight in from my front door to straight, that sliding glass door to that unfinished porch was straight from my front door, straight ahead in my
So the
vision.
energy was flowing in and
right out.
straight throughout.
Yeah, out to that unfinished porch that we had enclosed it, but it wasn't done. It was the electoral stuff, wires were still hanging. He hadn't finished. There was so much every day it was like really bothering me. And it was like, because when you see something all the time and it's just a matter of time, it was kind of sucking the energy out of me and making me feel like that. So by putting the beautiful curtains up and finishing that room, that when I walked straight in my house, It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And that was right after, though, that I had cleaned out that closet, which wasn't to the far left of my house, but it was to the left of the room.
Right.
And when I got that done, that was the catalyst for everything in my house. And in fact, it shared a wall. Interesting enough, it shared a wall on the other side of the wall of that dining room that I decorated. The main wall is that room.
Okay, perfect.
Because they're attached.
Yeah.
So it was like the energy just started to flow. And
nice.
So I have to say, Cheryl, thank you for your course, because it made me more aware that what you see in your environment is giving you clues to where you're at
The
in your
time.
development, right? It's telling you, if you see a lot of clutter and you can't bring yourself to get rid of it, there's probably a lot of emotional clutter going on or something going on. So by you just fixing even a drawer or something, drawer
Mhm.
next to your bed or whatever,
Start.
you start that cycle of feeling better. It signals your subconscious, I am ready to do a little changing here, even if it's something small, you
Good.
know, and that was where I started
Mm-hmm.
when I took your course, was just with those simple things. And then it led, like I say, the closets, I still was like,
I don't want
right,
to do it.
a little bit, but not really getting in there, sister, and cleaning that out. I wasn't really digging deep enough, right? I was only
Yep.
doing a little surface to, I'll get rid of a few of these little clothes. That'll be enough. You got to dig deep sometimes, but it happens in stages. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start
Exactly.
where you start, right?
Exactly. Well, that makes perfect sense then why the dining room came up,
Mhm.
because everything is energy. And we're
Mhm.
connected to everything. So as I'm shuffling, I'm looking at Esther, right? What is our topic for the day is my question. So this has been a perfect example of how when we're open to what can come in,
Yep. The
right?
dining room
The
is the center
cards
of
flow
my
in,
house.
the
From
dining
it,
room, the wealth and prosperity, and the work that you did. And you said a couple things that are super important that I want to go back to. You loved the curtains.
Mhm.
They were you knew the curtains. The other thing I want to talk about is sometimes we do buy stuff because we're not sure. No, it's either a hell yes or it's not. And when you knew the artwork that you wanted, it was a hell yes. That's your intuition. Sometimes it has to get really loud. But if you're sitting there and you're teetering, guess what the energy is doing? The
It's
energy
teetering. Yeah.
around you is also teetering. If your closets are stuffed full, the energy cannot flow. If you can't open your front door, the energy can't come in to your space.
It's a signal to your subconscious of what you're reflecting in your reality. And you don't know you're doing it. We've been so
No.
unconscious with it. And that dining room's the center of my home. I don't
Mm.
know what your map shows on what the center of a house is.
The
But the very,
center. That's where all the energy flows from.
yeah,
And
my
it
dining room
flows
is
out.
literally in the center of my house. If there's
Yeah.
an even amount of space on the one side and even amount of space on the other, and you just go straight through, the dining room is in the
Mhm.
center of exact center. So it's surprising how when I shifted that, and I will tell you that initially I had bought a cheap pair of curtains from the internet that it had up there, and I
Mhm.
didn't like them that much, but they were doing the duty of covering the spot, right? And my problem was my stubbornness and not allowing myself to change, because they were not that expensive, but I still didn't want to get rid of them for a while. I'm like, what is, so allow yourself to put stuff up and then take it down. And you know what? That's a problem sometimes.
Give yourself permission.
Right. Give yourself permission to change it, because there were other curtains in my bedroom, the same thing.
Mhm.
I had put them up and they were bothering me. And I'm like, I tried 2 sets of curtains before the third set in my bedroom was the
Mhm.
set. Now I did other things with those other curtains, and so I
And
gave
that's
them to
fine.
friends. I was like, I did, because they were new, but they didn't fit. And you know what? In that moment that I got them, I thought they'd be okay. But after I sat with them a little bit, I don't know what shifted my energy. Something just said, they're not exactly what you want. And I think it was a learning for me
Mhm.
that I was allowed to change it as many times as I needed to get it right for me. Because a lot of times we do things for others and we don't, and we put ourselves on the back burner and we don't listen to our intuition.
Mhm.
So this was a chance for me to expand my consciousness a little bit and love myself enough to allow myself to change my mind.
I love it, because what you've touched on there is some of our programming and whose belief it comes from or where it stems from, that's your work. That's what you get to figure out, is settling.
Right.
We will, well, someone gave it to me and well, it'll work in there. And then we hang it up and we settle. And then we become complacent until something happens. That's the catalyst, the gift. Maybe it's a flood, maybe it's a mouse infestation, right?
Right.
That gets the energy moving, right? So
Exactly.
your whole story, and thank you so much for being willing to share it, is so impactful on so many levels. You've shared some vulnerability. You've shared that once you got started, you get going, but you shared that you were complacent to begin with, that you were settling, and now you're not willing to settle anymore.
No, and if I come into a place where my energy is shifted again, or maybe I've decided that I would like to move something, I give myself permission to do that. And it doesn't have to be the whole house. It can just be a certain room or a certain wall
Exactly.
that maybe I find something I like better. And now, right now, everything's really looking good. It's very settled. But because I know I have permission, I have that freedom, I feel more comfortable in my body. I feel lighter, and I think as little kids, your parents make you, all right, decide what toy you want, make up
And
your mind.
stick with it.
No, and now, no, you can't change your mind. You have to take this. You said you wanted this. You keep changing your mind. No. And I think that reinforces, then you get to society, will decide what your career is,
Bingo. Yeah.
right? And you have to be fixed on that. And it used to be you stayed in that job forever. Now I think that's lightening up a little bit, but still we want kids to decide, who are you? What do you want to do for the rest of your life? You have to decide these classes, you have to go to college or do this job. And you have to, who are you? And you don't know. And for me, it kind of shut me down. And I just made these decisions and stayed fixated on them because I thought I had to.
Yeah.
And I think that when the feng shui shows you that even in your house, you kind of take that idea and shift it to the way you decorate. And you think, oh my God, I can't move the picture. I can't, it's always been there, and no, you can move it. And it might take you a few tries of putting stuff up to figure out what you like. That's okay.
Exactly.
I have to say that was okay. I didn't always know right away. I was allowed to take time to decide and respect my space to decide. And boy, I psychologically, that did a lot for me and taught me to be open. So when I knew not to project so much stuff that it had to be a certain way, it taught me that opening taught me to, allowed for things like this Kevin Moore show to come into my awareness, to be offered to me, right? And I got to make the decision, yes, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Was it a little uncomfortable? And wow, yes, it was unexpected, but I was ready. And because I had allowed myself, even in my environment, to make decisions and change my mind and know that I was okay with that. And trust myself that, nothing is fixed. You give yourself some space. Doesn't that feel good?
Doesn't it though? Doesn't it though? That is so cool.
Yeah.
I absolutely love you, and I love the story, and I appreciate you so much. We're at the top of the hour already, by the way.
Oh my, okay.
So
right, that went quick.
It does go quick because you get on a topic and it flies, but you and I can continue talking. However, I do have to thank everybody for their time. We're going to put in the chat how you can connect with Esther if you want some more information on what she does, her services, what she provides, or even more of her opinion on our 21-day decluttering program, because we're starting that again January 10th. And the nice part about that group is you've got support. We're going to encourage you. Anita and I might push a few buttons to get you look at things differently, but it could be the catalyst for change that opens up your 2023, which is very cool. So I want to thank Esther Gates again, Esther 5D Energy on YouTube, and esthergates.com for joining us as our special guest today. I send hugs and love to all of you, wishing everybody Merry Christmas. wishing my friend and partner Anita and her family in Hawaii absolutely blessed and blast while they're there. And any final words you'd like to share with everybody, Esther?
Just thank you for having me on the show. I've really enjoyed our conversation. And like you said, I do personal sessions if people want to contact me on esthergates.com, or I'm on YouTube once a week on Mondays. I post Multidimensional Monday. I do a quick channel, and it's Esther 5D Energy on YouTube. But I just want to say that it was January of last year that I did your course.
Yepers.
Really showing that intention and opening that up led to so much. So I really thank you for providing the service, Cheryl, you and Anita, and for offering it to everyone. It was really instrumental in helping me shift my energy. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. All right. Happy holidays, everyone. Take care, and we will see you next week.